Welcome again to PM Express tonight. My guest with me tonight is the Minister for Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto, and I'm pretty sure you've heard him talk a lot about the Plentiful Food and Jobs program, which indeed is at the center of the government's agricultural policy. Tonight we're going to talk about that, but a lot more when it has to do with agriculture. And so I'm delighted that he's joining me on PM Express tonight. Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much for your time on PM Express again.
Most welcome.
This is like the third or fourth time I'm speaking to you on PM Express, so I'm always delighted to do this. The timing, though, of this conversation is critical. We've done a whole 4 years of Plentiful Food and Jobs, which you led. As we speak tonight, what is the status of the program?
The program is going very strong. Initially, in fact, I would say that looking back 4 years, it's gone much better than we thought. Because of the willingness of farmers to respond to the incentives given by government. A lot more farmers are come on board. Don't forget, we started with a target of 200,000 farmers. And last year, we reached out to 1.7 million farmers. Of course, that meant that the budget for the subsidies were just exploding. Exploding because of the number of farmers streaming in to join the program because they've seen the impact that the improved seed and fertilizer has had on yields, where an acre for their whole lives they've been doing 3, 4, 5 bags of maize, for instance, per acre of 50 kilogram, 3, 4 bags of 50 kilograms each of per acre. With the application of improved seed and fertilizer, hybrid seed and fertilizer, some are making 15, 20, 30. I've even seen 40 bags for an acre of land planted in Sisala East. So it's a total transformation, and the fact that the beneficiaries are some of the poorest group of workers in Ghana, that's farmers, smallholder farmers, is something which pleases this government to no end, because then it means that it's an all-inclusive growth. We are not leaving behind the poorest. Actually, the poorest are the biggest beneficiaries, and they've seen the transformation in their lives. And this is something that the government of Akufo-Addo has always aspired to bring to the people of this country.
So it's been a success story as far as the Agric Minister is concerned. So explain then and reconcile why in the last few weeks we've had the peasant farmers, we've had the General Agricultural Workers Union, and generally traders say prices have gone up, they're seeing shortages. How do you reconcile both?
Well, I don't know about shortages. Prices have gone up. And prices have always gone up in this period seasonally every year. Ghanaian agriculture is dependent upon rainfall pattern, and there are two of them. The Savannah region, where there's only one rainfall season. This is May, June, July, August, September. And then the southern part of the country, the forest regions, where there are 2 seasons. The major season starts in April, May, June, and then the minor season right now is September, October, November. We should understand that if you look at the records going back 60 years or more, every 4 or 5 years there's a drought. And we've been lucky. 2017 we had a normal year, 18 normal year, 19 normal year. 2020 we were hit. The southern part of the country, both the minor season and the major season, there was drought. So obviously that is the underlying factor. The production of maize and the other grains went down, but it didn't go down to the extent that it was denying human consumption. It went down to the extent that it was affecting feed for livestock. Okay, so, and we are saying that this year the major season started, rain started a bit slow. The minor season we've had ideal weather pattern. And therefore, we expect that prices and supplies will be back to normal come November, December, January. So it is not unusual. You always find around this time when farmers begin planting, that's when stocks of grains are their lowest and prices go up. And you can look at the statistics. We are the ones who compile these statistics over all these years. You can come and look at our books. It's very clear that it's cyclical. Every year at around this time is the highest.
So it's factual to say, as we speak, there is some shortage.
Not shortage. I wouldn't call shortage. Shortage of what? You have to define what is short. The stocks are low. Prices are very high because stocks are low.
Stocks are low is shortage, is it not?
No, it's not shortage. I wouldn't call it shortage.
What is shortage?
When shortage is when human beings, in spite of what money you carry, you can't get food to buy. That's shortage.
There is short supply of what we normally
no, but
have on the market.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's seasonal. If you say shortage, all these countries are now coming to Ghana to pick their grains. Why? Because there is shortage in their countries. That's why they have to go elsewhere. In Ghana, we are exporting. So there cannot be shortage. You cannot deny yourself food and sell your food where you will go hungry. So that's evidence enough. And we have the statistics to show. There's exports of 19 different 19 different crops that we exported, 130,000 metric tons in 2019, where we have the full year. We are compiling for 2020. Of course, 2021, the jury is still out. But it cannot be shortage. It's just that, as I said, the drought comes every 3, 4, 5 years, and this we were hit last year.
What has been the impact of the drought then on food supply?
Oh, it means that the yields are low. Look, I mean, on the day before we had the election on the 7th, on the 6th of December, I traveled from Kumasi to go to Agric to go and meet our parliamentary candidate. And once I left Mampong, all the way to Drought, left and right, brown. When they're supposed to be green, maize crop, it was all brown. And of course, I'm here in this office. I receive monitoring reports from all over the country all the time. But to see it with my naked eye, miles and miles and miles of failed crop of maize. We're even lucky that because the weather was so good in the northern part, in Sicily and all those areas, they were able to fill the shortfall so that human beings could have something, the normal things to eat. But then, as I said, it's the livestock sector, which still has, their complaint is not that you can't find maize, but that maize prices are too high.
But there's a reason why they're high.
No, yes.
Because when there's short supply, it leads to increased prices.
Yeah, that's the price. But the thing is that Poultry Farmers Association, they came here with a petition. And their suggestion was that I should allow them to import maize. And I knew that...
Because they couldn't find enough on the Ghanaian market.
Well, that's a point, yes, for their livestock, not for human consumption, for their livestock. I gave them 3 permits, one 60,000, one 40,000, and another 20,000. You know what happened? I knew that it was just an empty, it was a bluff. Because when I checked on the Chicago market, prices of maize on the Chicago market were higher than what they were complaining about in Ghana. So they couldn't even import. That should tell you something.
They ended up buying it from the local...
No, they couldn't import.
Because it was too expensive.
Of course, it's more expensive. You are not going to buy maize that you are complaining is very high, and you are going to import it at a much higher price from the world market. Where is it going to be? You're going to make a loss. Mm. You understand? So these are the things. Even though they were complaining that the prices were too high, world prices were higher than Ghana.
An additional challenge you've had this year is a lack of supply of adequate fertilizers.
No, it's not lack. Yes, there's been the amount of fertilizer that we projected to supply under subsidy. See, there are 2 markets for fertilizer in Ghana, the open market and the subsidized market. The subsidized market, we've grown it from 110,000 metric tons to 500,000 tons, which we're hoping this year we could do.
Which also serves the majority of farmers.
Well,
The
smallholder.
subsidized market.
The subsidized market is meant for smallholder farmers, not commercial farmers
And
that
Ghana-
others were talking about.
True. And in Ghana, smallholder farmers form the bulk of producers.
Oh yeah, they produce nearly 90% of our output. Anything,
and fair to
cocoa.
say, even your policy targets,
Yeah.
they are primary targets of your policy.
Oh yes, that's it. I mean, planning for food and jobs is meant for smallholder farmers.
So the fertilizer challenge affected these smallholder farmers.
Yes. I take that. And don't forget, I was reading the newspapers on Monday. In the UK, Yara, which is one of the biggest producers, are closing down their plants. Why? Because there is not sufficient natural gas. And they are speculating that because of that, there's fertilizer shortage in the UK, which will mean reduced yields and shortage of food next year. This is the United Kingdom, one of the most developed countries. So if they are facing shortage, and we don't even produce a bag of fertilizer in Ghana, we have to import totally everything that all our requirements. If they, the producers, are facing shortage, is it any wonder that Ghanaian farmers are facing shortage?
So John Mahama was right then when he said his brother couldn't find fertilizers and as a result has reduced his own production and yield and projecting that next year we might have shortages. He was right, wasn't he?
No, he was totally wrong. First of all, the subsidy is not meant for his brother.
Because his brother is in...
It's commercial farming.
Yeah, but...
Listen, no, wait, please. So he's exposing himself.
You know his brother?
Fertilizer? No, I don't know any of his relatives.
I'm just wondering how you know it is commercial. He was in commercial farming.
Because he's doing 300 acres.
So you
by
know,
definition, no, I don't. How would I know his farm?
Okay.
I'm saying that if he's doing 300 hectares.
I'm just curious how you know the hectares he's his farm.
Because he said it.
Okay.
You just mentioned it.
Yeah. So from what he had said himself.
But what else can I? What are we talking about?
Agric minister. So
No, I'm saying this is what he said. His brother, and you said it. You mentioned the figures.
Yes.
Why are you running away from them?
I'm just checking if you knew about it. I mean,
how would I know?
It won't be strange.
No, I mean there are millions.
Agric minister.
Listen, I'm a Greek minister. There are over 3.5 million farmers in Ghana. Yeah. You expect me to know everyone? Please.
I'm just
I may be a genius.
I get it.
I may be a genius, but not that much genius. I don't know.
So your
anything.
argument fundamentally, he doesn't qualify for the...
No, to start with, the subsidy is meant for farmers with 2-3 acres, that's all, which is the bulk of smallholders. Not for 300 acres, for goodness sake. So he has actually scrounged on the poor farmers to start with, if he was able to do 300 with subsidized fertilizer. So what I'm saying is that what Mr. Mahama is saying cannot be true. It cannot be. In any case, we are talking about millions and millions of farmers. You understand? For him to make that conclusion from one observation, it means that when it comes to statistics, he has absolutely no clue.
But Dr.
that he can make a judgment based on the performance of one farmer.
But Dr. Fuyo, to be fair to him, you've said that yes, smallholder farmers had struggled to access fertilizer than they normally would this year.
For the last 4 years. This is the first time.
So it's factual to say, even if he was talking in general terms, that this year the smallholder farmers who form the bulk of the farmers in this country have had a challenge with fertilizers, which will affect
No, of course. No, look, I mean, nobody can deny it. I will be the first.
So in that context, he was right.
No, but he shouldn't go and talk about his siblings and 300 acres to 80 acres. He shouldn't. It's just like him coming to Parliament when I was a member of Parliament, putting 4 people in the balcony of the Parliament and saying evidence-based, 4 observations. I mean, you don't do that. Although we are talking politics, but Ghanaians are more intelligent than that. That your brother, my sibling, is doing 300 and is done 80, and therefore there will be shortage of food. What kind of logic is that?
But he's not the only one. He's not the only one warning us of this.
No, but he's using his evidence of one single observation of his siblings. And that's typical, isn't it? It's all to do with family. And nothing to do with the poor farmer who is sitting there.
What are you insinuating?
No, I'm not insinuating anything.
But of course, he has to talk from a personal experience before he.
No, but you don't. But you cannot dive into that huge conclusion that because your brother has reduced his acreage from 300 to 80, and therefore there's going to be a shortage of food next year. I mean, what kind of logic is that? What kind of statistics is that?
But you agree, away from his brother example.
No, but you brought it, so I want to take him on this.
On his brother example.
Yes. Is that how to rule? Is that how you make public policy based on one observation?
But that observation is rooted in the fact of the.
I'm saying that he's not even qualified to benefit from that policy because he's a commercial farmer. He's a commercial farmer. He should be able to go to the bank and raise money to buy fertilizers if he wishes, but not to scrounge on the taxpayers' subsidy to poor farmers. That's what I'm saying.
So no commercial farmer is to benefit from the.
It's not supposed to benefit. If they are doing that, then they are scrounging.
Is that illegal?
No. What is illegal?
So it's not. I mean, so
that is not wrong.
Is it wrong?
You are doing 300 acres. Do you know how many acres? Do you know what kind of revenue you can raise from 300 acres of maize or soya and so on? And the small farmer who is just eking out a living with 2-3 acres, the government is going to help him, and you go and take that food from the mouth of the poor person. And he's proud to make a case out of that and come to the ridiculous conclusion that there will be shortage of food next year.
But there can't be anything wrong with the commercial farmer benefiting from government supplied.
Of course not.
There can't be anything wrong.
No, but I'm saying that we don't have all the money for everybody. That's why we chose strategically that we focus on the smallholder.
Yes.
There's a reason why we chose the smallholder as the target of government policy.
But that doesn't mean that if you're a commercial farmer, you can't also benefit.
Why should you benefit?
But that's not government policy.
That what?
It's government policy that only smallholder farmers benefit from.
Yes.
Only.
Yeah, of course.
But then if that's the case, if largeholder farmers are benefiting, as this...
They are not supposed to benefit, please. This is the point I'm making. The policy is meant for smallholders, not for large commercial farmers like Mr. Mohammed's sibling.
But it's the government that supplies it. You can't blame him for getting it. Your people gave it to the largeholder farmers.
That is very unethical. Something meant for small, like government free education, free food for kids, and then you go from your office and then you take a plate from a student whose parents could not afford it.
But what about...
Is that ethical? No, I'm asking you a question.
But the fundamental question there about the government officials under your ministry who also give it to them, knowing they're not supposed to benefit.
No, they don't give it to them.
How do they?
No, because we don't distribute. We don't do the distribution ourselves. The ministry doesn't. We rely on the whole trading arrangement to make it happen. We haven't perfected the art because ideally we should get all the smallholder farmers on a database and then load them up on their phone or something to be able to do that, to exclude that. And this is what we are doing this year. To improve the system, we want to register all smallholder farmers, and we've started a program where they are on there, and we load the number of bags of fertilizer, value equivalent, they go there, and then they release it when the transaction is complete.
So that's an admission that there's a loophole.
Of course.
In the system.
That's the point.
That you are responsible for.
No. How would I be responsible for?
You're supposed to make sure there's no loophole.
No. Listen, you make policy. You make policy. People find a way around policy all the time. That's why there are criminals in this world. Otherwise, the law is there, and you are saying they shouldn't break the law. And if they break the law, is the fault of the government? Please, let's be serious.
I want to take a break. When I return, I'll focus a bit on the substantive issues that not only John Mahama raised, but also the peasant farmers and the agricultural workers union. And most importantly, there are a few policy interventions that the minister had introduced, including stopping the exportation of some of our staples so that we could consume ourselves, especially because of the drought that has happened and the fertilizer challenges. I wonder how these policy interventions are proceeding. And I've heard that the buffer stock company has been giving, of course, a bit more impetus to stock a bit more so we could prepare for any eventuality going forward. We'll talk about that also. And I cannot end an interview with Dr. Ofrighe without asking him about the future of his own ambitions. You want to stay with me for that? And thank you for staying with me on PM Express. My guest is still the Agric Minister, Dr. Ofrighe, and I'm grateful that he's making time to talk to us. Many farmers across the country have a lot of questions, and we're trying to put a few of these to him to answer. Doc, before the break, we're talking about the fundamental challenge that had this year had come up. Last week, we were speaking to your deputy, Mr. Frimpong, and he made very interesting. He was pretty honest about the challenges, but also very bold about what your ministry is doing. He says the situation has arisen as a result of several factors, and these include the COVID situation, which affected even the production of fertilizers in other markets. You touched on that in this interview. And the government also, because of revenue shortfalls, had challenges with payments to fertilizer suppliers. Did you have challenges in paying suppliers?
Yes.
Why did that happen?
Well, because of COVID, the revenue projections did not go according to plan, and therefore, not only among fertilizer suppliers, road contractors, all those who do business with government had to something had to give.
Has that been addressed?
Oh yes.
It has.
Yes. You check with your suppliers; they will tell you exactly what has happened.
When do you hope for this to stabilize? Because that is key for farmers. I mean, there's stabilization of the regular flow of fertilizers to smallholder farmers across the country.
It all depends upon what is happening in the global market. Prices of fertilizers have gone up substantially. Urea has gone up, has more than doubled. It's almost tripling. Feed costs have trebled. So the whole COVID impact on the global economy is beginning to affect policy in places like Ghana, which is a taker of the market rather than the maker of the market. As I explained to you this week, Yara in the United Kingdom, one of the biggest producers of fertilizer, is closing down 3 or 4 plants because of the shortage of gas and so on, which are all related to the loss, the COVID impact. So the prices of fertilizers are shooting up. It had been very stable the first 3 years, I would say, yes, 3-4 years of planting for food and jobs. Fertilizer prices have been very stable. Suddenly, it's shooting up. So obviously, if government is to go at the same rate that it has in the past, it will have to find even more money for the subsidy. And it's something that has to be discussed with my colleagues as to what can government afford in the light of these rising prices. So we are still working around that to see the final decisions to be taken, both in the quantity that goes into the subsidy and the prices, the subsidy, the rate of subsidy itself. So all these have been looked at.
I'm pretty sure you've heard the Peasant Farmers Agricultural Workers Union all predict that the way things are going this year and the challenges that you've talked about, we'll have a challenge next year with food supply.
I would totally disagree with them.
Why?
Because the reports I'm getting, and I have the infrastructure and the knowledge in the field to be able to make judgments about the way forward. And I'm saying that there will be no shortage. And read my lips, there will be no food shortage next year.
That is against what the farmers in the field,
there is not
smallholder farmers represented by peasant farmers,
no, they are not,
etc.
They are not.
General Agricultural Workers Union.
No, listen. These two groups of people do not represent farmers. 3.5 million farmers. How many of them voted to make them representatives? Please, let's be serious here. When was the last time all these 3.5 million farmers voted to say these are our representatives, like the people of Ghana vote us into parliament and people stand on behalf of the people of Ghana to speak? So don't say. We are in touch with the farmers. Every district, there's a district director of agriculture. I have over 4,000 extension officers in the field working with the farmers. We collect our data that way. And that is more scientific than a group of people calling themselves representatives of the farmers. And I know you use them quite a lot. Every time you roll them in, what is this? And they speak. And sometimes I sit back and wonder, what is the basis of what they are saying? Oh, we are traveling to Bolgatanga. Oh, we are in Navrongo.
But that's not fair to them. The peasant farmers have members, thousands and thousands.
How many thousands? No, I'm saying how many thousands?
You are asking me to take your word over the farmer's word.
No, I'm saying that I'm in touch with the farmers more than any other person.
You are in touch. They are actually on the farms.
They are not on the farms. They cannot be on the farms. I'm saying that there are over 3 million farmers. How many of them are represented by this group? You're talking about thousands. I'm talking about millions. And I'm in touch with them. Because in every district, in every village, I have somebody there reporting back to me. And we aggregate all this. You know, we have thousands and thousands of workers, professional people out there working with the farmers, collecting data, feeding us back so we can make policy. Some people, a group of people sit there and they say they are representing farmers. Who are they representing? How many acres do they cover out of the millions of acres that, one has to be very scientific. So these are I call them speculators.
But they definitely have farms themselves.
Well, I'm a big farmer. I don't use my farm to guide policy.
But just as you say that as a minister, a lot of your extension officers report, and eventually
not a lot of them, all of them. We have a system by which we collect statistics. That we use those statistics to make policy here at this desk.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they are saying they are representing farmers, the data I have is more representative of what is going on the ground. And I'm asking them, how many farmers do they have? What is the acreage that they have farmers together cultivate? And how representative is that in the general population of what we are talking about? You see, a lot of these things, they say all these things and nobody challenges them. And then you regurgitate and say, oh, these are representative of farmers.
You've been in office for 4 years. You definitely work with farmer groups. You don't?
We are creating farmer groups ourselves.
Yeah, but you work with existing farmer groups.
Of course, I work with all farmers.
Yes.
And there is no farmer groups. I work with commercial farmers, I work with peasant farmers, I work with smallholder farmers, I work with a whole range. Every farmer in this country I'm responsible for.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because of the impossibility of speaking to every single farmer, you have to work with representatives of farmers.
No, but I'm saying that I don't work with representatives of farmers.
You don't?
I work with my staff who are all over. We have a system. We have a regional director of agriculture. We have a district director of agriculture, under whom we have extension officers who are portioned to different villages and so on, that they go to the field and liaise with the farmers, collect data back, and we put it all together. How more representative can that be? Let them tell you the method they use to arrive at the fact that there's going to be shortage next year. There will be no shortage.
So let's look at the facts. You've had prolonged drought this year.
No. Last year, I said. 2020.
Yeah.
We were hit by the major season, and both the major and minor season.
Yeah.
We had severe drought in the forest belt, not throughout the country.
But it was one that, as you say, one of those prolonged ones.
Yes.
And has affected Ashanti, Bono, Ahafo, Bono East mainly, and based on Agric Ministry's own statistics. And then you have complicating that the challenge with the fertilizer.
No, that was last year. Last year there was no challenge with fertilizer.
But we are talking about
this year is the year of the fertilizer. Don't get confused, please.
But you're saying this year you don't have any fertilizer challenge.
No. I'm saying last year there was no fertilizer challenge.
I'm talking about this year.
No, this year we have had a challenge. But last year, you see, please.
No, I was
no.
This year. I'm talking about
You pose a question and then you contradict yourself.
I'm actually asking.
I'm saying that.
I'm asking 2021. I'm questioning. I'm asking.
2020, there was a drought.
I haven't actually.
In the south.
Yes.
In the main farming season and the minor farming season.
Yeah.
That affected supplies this year.
True.
Okay? This year, in the major season in the south, there was a slight delay in the rains coming. Yes. But they came, and the minor season... wait a minute, please.
Okay.
In the minor season, it's been perfect. So what I'm saying is that these are the facts of the case, that last year there was no fertilizer shortage. There was drought. This year, there is no drought, but there's fertilizer shortage. Okay. So let's distinguish between that.
Let me return to that question, because the facts from the Ghana Meteorological Agency, and I think you've actually even pointed to that this year we still have challenges with rain.
No, this was the beginning of the major season, please.
True.
Don't create a problem where there's none.
Available to the Agric Ministry.
No, what I'm saying...
I want to read from your own data. Let me put your own data to you, which was reported in the graphic in July. Statistics available by the ministry, your ministry, from 4 major farming regions indicate that out of the total maize farmland of 246,000 plus hectares, 79,000 hectares could not be cultivated due to the drought.
Yes, okay.
For rice, 6,400 hectares out of the total of 48,000 could not be, farmlands could also not be cultivated, again because of unfavorable weather. Now, your people also spoke to the Met agency, and they say in May this year, in May this year, the Met office warned your officers that most places in the southern part, which I think we touched on, of the country, were likely to experience prolonged dry weather.
But it didn't happen.
But I'm quoting.
I'm saying
the Ghana Met Agency.
No, I'm saying that was their forecast, but it didn't happen. Take it from me. I've been to the 5 forest regions, which was where the rainfall was delayed. And the rains which came immediately after was more than enough to make up.
But this publication is July.
Yes, July, yes. I'm saying July. We're in September.
And Met Agency was running this forecast to your own people.
Yes. I'm saying that the prolonged dry weather didn't happen, because soon after the rain started. And the rains have been good since then. And the rains have been excellent in the minor season, where these days most of our grains are produced because the changes in weather and so on. So their forecast is only a forecast, please. And I'm saying to you that it didn't happen.
So my question,
if you want to create a shortage because of rainfall, sorry, you'll be disappointed.
My question on the back of that is, so within a space of a year, you've had challenges with the weather, you've had challenges with fertilizer.
No, we didn't have challenges with weather. We always
challenges with weather.
No. I'm saying that the main
from last year.
Please, I'm saying that this year, the major season, there was a delay in the rain coming. But the rain, no, because you can more than make up in a subsequent.
But that's a challenge with it.
No, it's not. I wouldn't call it a challenge.
But you had a delay in the
last year. If you say there was a challenge last year, I agree with the weather. I agree with you. Not this year.
But you had a delay in the rains coming.
No, I'm saying last year there was a challenge with the weather.
Yes, and this delays in.
There was only a small delay. That's all. Why do you want to create the question? Why do you want to create the impression that there is something which doesn't exist?
I want to ask.
I'm not prepared to accept that.
The question I'm asking is on the back of the challenges that you've had.
Which challenges?
Last year there was a drought.
Yes.
This year I'm using your own words. This year there was a delay in the rains coming.
Yeah, exactly. That was not a drought. Please, let's use our words technically.
I'm using your words. I'm using your words.
Yes.
Last year you had a drought.
Yes.
This year you had delays in the rains coming.
In the main season.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not for the whole year.
And then you had some challenges with fertilizer.
Yes.
On the basis of that, how can you on the basis of that say, I'm still expecting, in fact, the words you use in your recent statement in reaction to John Mahama, expecting a bumper harvest.
Yes, and I'm expecting a bumper harvest.
Because of you expect
listen. Because you don't understand the impacts of these things on production. I'm saying to you that the weather has been ideal in the minor season. And we are going to have a much bigger crop than normal. And you take it from me. If you're a betting person, you put your money here, I'll put my money here.
What's the scientific basis for that?
Of course, we have people.
Projection.
Listen, we have highly qualified staff. My staff here are one of the best qualified in the whole, and I've been working in other African countries. If they, with their knowledge and their long experience, cannot advise me of the direction of food supplies and so on, then I don't know who would.
Could it be that they're not giving you the true picture?
Why not? I have total confidence in them.
Because you still expect a bumper harvest in the midst of all the challenges.
Yes. What challenges?
Which I just
No, please. You are creating a challenge which doesn't exist. And don't go that route, because you are determined to create the impression to the people of Ghana, to your listeners, that there have been challenges. There's challenge everywhere, every time. You have to weigh. It's a question of weighing. I'm saying that those challenges are minimal, and they have been overrun by all kinds of good things happening.
Okay.
Which will make me say that those like you who say that there's going to be shortage because of challenges is totally the whole thing is totally
asking the question.
No, you're not asking the question.
I am asking.
No. The angle you are coming from, challenges. Look, I mean, the pattern this year is no different from the pattern 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
I can only ask questions based on the evidence before me. I've quoted to you the Met's report.
But
I've quoted to you your own ministry's report that says there has been challenges. And I'm asking the question simply based on those
all what I'm saying is that these challenges, they fade into...
challenges.
No, listen. These challenges fade into insignificance compared to the current performance of the sector as I see it.
We just use the same word.
No, we are not.
You just use challenges.
No. I'm saying there will always be challenges. You have challenges, I have challenges, everybody has challenges.
I guess it's a question of the impact of the challenge. You say the impact is going to be as much.
No. I'm saying that the challenges are minimal challenges. Okay. They have no threat to food security in this country.
Let me ask you this. Last week when I spoke to your deputy, Mr. Frimpong, on the question of the bumper harvest, his word was he expecting good harvest, but not necessarily a bumper harvest.
You have to define what is good harvest and what is bumper harvest.
For bumper harvest is the extreme of good harvest.
No.
It should
no.
Because
extreme, what is extreme?
If say, and this is late, you are the farmer. If I'm expecting to harvest 5 tons, I'm just metric tons of maize.
Yes.
In a bumper harvest, if that's good, in a bumper harvest, I should probably get closer to 10.
No. No, not the scale you are talking about in my industry is not. You cannot double overnight anything.
So what is the bumper harvest you refer to?
Well, now you have to define. That's what I'm saying. If Honorable Frimpong came to you and said he's expecting a good, yes, and I'm saying that, no, please, let me speak.
Yes.
If he's used a good harvest and I'm using bumper harvest, then you have to ask his definition of what a bumper harvest, of what a good harvest is, and ask me what my definition is.
But the two can be the same.
Why not?
Is your bumper harvest same as a good harvest?
Oh, please, don't let's quibble about words.
True.
Let's go into more substantial things and let's stop this kind of... let's be serious, because you are just sitting on words and playing words.
No.
But I have in this room a responsibility to make sure that the 30 million people of Ghana are fed.
True.
And they are fed in a way which will help in the development of their welfare and so on. I'm carrying out that mandate very, very well. and then let's talk about the means by which I've been able to achieve it, rather than whether it's good or have bumper and so on. I mean, I think we are being trivial with my position.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, no, you are.
Why it's important, it's also for planning purposes.
You planning? No. I'm the one who planned.
The interview, remember the interview is for everybody else who works, stakeholders in your industry. Mm-hmm. And they want to hear the statistics and the forecast.
Yeah, so where are your statistics?
I just read a lot to you.
Yeah, no.
From your own ministry.
Which one? Those few figures that you read out, you call them statistics? Please.
From your ministry.
No.
I mean, but that is why
you can't get away with that with me.
Projection purposes.
I'm saying that whatever it is, we are definitely not going to have a shortage of food or famine, as Mr. Mahama put it. He actually used the word famine next year. We are not. Rather, we are going to have a good situation with our food security.
Okay.
There's no threat at all to Ghana's food security. And those of them who are out there preaching that kind of language, they are just doing it on their own volition. It has no scientific basis. I am sitting here as the Minister for Food and Agriculture. You introduced me as the Minister of Agriculture. I'm not. I'm the Minister for Food and Agriculture. I'm responsible to make sure that the citizens of Ghana are fed. And in doing that, I'm armed with resources of personnel, knowledgeable people all over the country reporting to me about the situation and so on. So if you ask me a question and I give you an answer, and you rather go off to talk to a group of so-called representative farmers who represent maybe 5% of farmers and not 100%, and you think that you will believe them, that's your problem, not mine.
So Doc says, let's focus on the big questions. I guess one of the big questions is about his interventions. We'll talk about his interventions very shortly, including, as I've heard, the bolstering of the buffer stock company, provision of more space for storage, and of course a policy to say, let's eat what we produce locally. We'll talk about that very shortly with him. Stay with me here on PM Express. And thank you for staying with me on PM Express. My guest is still the Minister responsible for Food and Agriculture. He is Dr. Owusu-Afriyie-Akoto. Thank you again for agreeing to talk to us. Let us talk about some of the interventions that you've introduced. Recently we heard that one of the things you're doing immediately is to say you're not going to allow these exports across the borders of staples until the buffer stock is able to sort of stock enough for our local use. Explain that policy.
No, I wouldn't explain that policy. I'd rather do the general policy area that has brought us to where we are. Planting for Food and Jobs have 5 modules. The food security module that we spend all this time talking about, the tree crop development module, the vegetable module, which is the village approach that I had said before, livestock, planting for rearing for food and jobs, and then the mechanization, setting up mechanization centers. These 5 are the work that we've done in the 4 years, and in each of these we've made tremendous progress. We spend too much time on the module to do with the food security. I wanted to spend a little bit more time to educate your listeners about the other very important critical modules that we spent our time in the last 4 years. The Tree Crop Development Authority is an act of parliament which derived from what we used to call planting for export and rural development, with a selection of 6 tree crops: coconut, rubber, oil palm, cashew, mangoes, and shea, that we want to bring to the same level in terms of export annual revenue as cocoa in the next 8 to 10 years, and for which we went to Parliament to get an act for the creation of the Tree Crop Development Authority. So that authority, the board was inaugurated by the President in September last year. It's headquartered in Kumasi. It's got a very strong management and is busily preparing the legislative instruments for the regulations, setting the standards to be to export these 6 crops. All those things are going to be in place. To the extent that cashew is going to will be the first of the 6 to have a producer price announced in January, because they've done a lot of work with Standard Board and so on, and they'll be ready to come out with that policy. It's highly private sector driven. It has a 28-member board, of which there are only 4 government officials. The rest are to do with the value chain representative for each of these 6. So that is highly private sector driven. It will be self-financing in the sense that at each stage in the value chain, there will be a levy. And the levies and so on, of course, we have to go to Parliament to get parliamentary approval. And these are all part of the preparations that are ongoing in addition to the standards of quality and so on and so forth. So that is a very critical intervention. It's the long-term intervention in the sense that Ghanaians will not see the benefits in terms of revenues flowing in for the next 7, 8, maybe even 9, 10 years. But the seedlings produced and distributed to the farmers are going to increase over time, because we are trying to expand the capacity of the research institutes which produce these seedlings, so that they can come up with the right numbers in the next 2, 3 years for farmers to carry on planting. So that is a very critical area, because if we succeed in what we are doing, it means that each of these crops should be able to earn us at least $2 billion a year, $2.5 billion a year. And we are very confident that the way we've started, the keenness of farmers going to DCE's offices to collect whatever seedlings are available, would enable us to be earning something like $20 billion a year from these 6 crops in the next 8, 10 years. So it's a long-term thing that we are doing to diversify out of the monocrop cocoa culture that this economy has depended upon for the last 130 odd years that cocoa has been with us.
So that cashew can have a place such as cocoa now currently?
Yes, exactly. That the cashew should be able to earn us the $2.5 billion that cocoa earned us last year, that kind of thing. So all of them. And some people think that is fanciful, but it is not. You go to Cote d'Ivoire, 5 crops earn them $20 billion a year. 5 crops earn them $20 billion a year. And we have even better soils and we have all kinds of rivers and water running through our agricultural areas. So we should do better than Cote d'Ivoire. But it is a model that we think that we can copy. And if we are getting $20 billion a year, this economy will be well fetched, because the 20 billion, most of it will go directly into the pockets of the farmers, and it's not like oil where it's on the seas. Ghana gets 15%, it comes straight to the treasury over the heads of the participants or the ordinary Ghanaian. We are all sharing in this. So that is the Tree Crop Development Authority. Now we also have the greenhouse villages. We have 3 villages that we've established in Bojuase, in Dawinya, and in Akumadan in the middle of the country, where we are using the latest technology of the greenhouse to produce vegetables. And it has a big component, a training component for the youth. So we take graduates, we take those with certificates from our agricultural colleges, diplomas, and so on. We train them on site 7 days a week for 3 months in the technology of what we are doing. And then the best ones amongst them, we take them to Israel to work on kibbutz. because the consultants who are guiding us in what we are doing is an Israeli company called Agric. So they make the arrangements through the government of Israel. And as I speak to you, 150 of them have been there for the last 11 to 20 months, and have started arriving back in this country. Yes. And coming back, and we are settling them on these satellite villages and giving them the opportunity to practice what they have learned over the period. So, and also as a nucleus to attract the youth into the vegetable area. Kenya exports something like $3 billion a year of vegetables and cut flowers to the European market. And they are how many hours flight from Nairobi? We are just 5.5 hours, and freight is a major item of cost when it comes to this trade. And we are so close, we have the advantage, and we can do it with this approach. So that is a major intervention of planting for food and jobs. That people, when we are talking about these things, they tend to, as if they've never heard of it. But I mean, I'm using this opportunity to again come out to say that it's a major component, this whole idea of greenhouse villages. Then we have the livestock component, where the poultry industry is concerned, and you mentioned the poultry industry, where we're talking about the ruminants, small ruminants, sheep and goats, the piggery and the cattle and all that. We have done a very successful pilot scheme for poultry farmers on a small scale. We always believe that if you go for the small scale farmer, you will never lose out. So we just finished a pilot, and we're going to roll out a major intervention for the poultry industry using the youth and women in particular. Well, we are working on it, and we are going to come out with that. And then, of course, we are supposed to have inherited 78 agricultural mechanization centers around the country. They all went bust, but they had gone bust by the time we came in 2017. Now we are at a point, we started building them back up again with imports of machinery from Brazil and soon from India to set up for each district as far as we can. Each district, whether it's private sector driven or the assemblies driven, to set up these centers so the farmers can go and hire a service of a tractor to come and prepare their land and to help them to harvest and all those things.
These are subsidized for the farmers?
Yes, definitely. So, when we're talking about farm machinery, you're talking about commercial farmers. The cabinet of Nana Akufo-Addo decided that there will be 40% discount for all agricultural machinery coming into this country. And of course, that one is open. That one, Mr. Mohammed's siblings can come and buy at 40% discount. That they are entitled to, but not the seed and the fertilizer meant for the poor farmer. So we have that, and that's also a major intervention of planting for food and jobs. You see, so you have these 5 major modules, but because the stomach is always asking for food from hour to hour, everybody's eyes are on the food security. And Mr. Evans spends so much time on just one aspect out of the 5 that all these things together are going to transform not only the agricultural economy, but the economy of this country. Can you imagine if there's an infusion of $20 billion a year into the economy of Ghana? How many hospitals and clinics and schools and motorways can't we provide for ourselves in this country? So it's a major intervention, and I'm glad that the management and the board of the Tree Crop Development Authority are so busy day and night working to make sure that this whole thing gets started. And I'm glad that at least they're giving me that by January they should be able to set a price for cashew, just like next week I'm going to announce the price, a producer price for cocoa for the coming year. Yes.
We have 2 minutes. Let's wrap this up with, you had to issue a statement recently about people were complaining your name. Your pictures, people sent me messages and say, mention his name as part of the list. I mean, I'm the head of political desk, so you expect that to happen. I'm not surprised. And then you issued a statement. on it. I wonder why.
I issued a statement.
No,
I issued a statement denying that
Exactly.
I had met party people.
Exactly my question. Exactly what I was
which,
referring to.
yes,
Exactly.
which wasn't true.
And I'm like, why were you compelled to do so? Because personally, you haven't done anything public that we know of.
No.
Yes.
So the statement was to deny that the people who were making those allegations were lying.
Is that to suggest? Because my question was: is that to suggest that you're not interested at all in the presidential race?
Why shouldn't I be? I'm a member of this party and a very senior member. So why shouldn't I? The destiny of this party should be of great concern to me and for all of us as party members, of course.
So that denial, to say factually, I haven't met people to campaign,
yes,
was not to suggest that Dr. Friakoto is not interested in running for president.
No, but that's not a statement. If I was going to say I'm not interested to run for president, I would have said so, didn't I?
So
it was just I was reacting to allegations made against me that I spent 1 million cedis one fine afternoon in my house in Kumasi to buy delegates or whatever. I don't even know what they were talking about. So I was specifically responding to those allegations.
But Dr. Friakoto is interested in running for president?
Well, it's not, look, who doesn't want to aspire in their profession to the highest office? It will be a great honor, of course, that the party, if the party thinks that I'm the person to lead them, why would I turn it down?
Or you put yourself up for the delegates to consider?
Sorry?
You put yourself up for the delegates to consider?
No. The thing is that I think that you're just, the party regulations are very clear. There will be a time that the party will open nomination and invite party members to apply. And at that stage, all party members, and I think that we are, how many people voted for us? Nearly 7 million people who voted. Anybody can apply. So the decision is not here. It's right in January 2024 or late 2023. So that is what it is.
Thank you very much, Dr. Usefi.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
My name is Kujo Yankson. Let me tell you how to turn back time. You can now bring back all the fun, all the excitement, all the controversy of the Super Morning Show and all your favorite Joy shows when you go to myjoyonline.com/podcasts. Just select your favorite show and bring it all back again. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
It's radio. Joy 99.7.
Good morning and welcome to News File.